completion of the question regarding the inyan of tefillah l'meisha, tefillah sa'asher. In Oisei in general, we explained that Meisha is the usher. And when we said usher, we said usher be'etzim, in Gashmis and in Ruchnis, a level of Ashirus that has no lacking whatsoever, and it's not relevant that there should be any other state. Meaning a state of poverty that turned into Ashirus, or a state of Ashirus that could then revert back to a state of poverty. And so what's Moshe davening for? It's not lacking anything. In the beginning of Ois Vav yesterday, we saw the answer, but we don't understand the answer. The answer is that Moshe is davening for Knesset Yisrael. That Moshe is not davening for himself. We saw the Medrash. The Medrash brings the mashal of 3 people who go to the king and ask the king the king offers favors. The first 2 ask for those things that are necessary to fulfill their lacking. Moshe Rabbeinu, the third one, who's the usher, but it doesn't say Moshe Rabbeinu in the Medrash. The third one comes and the Medrash says, the Melech asks him, what do you want? And he says, I don't want anything for myself, but, and we have to remember this is the 4th line in the beginning of Ois Vav in Shin Chav. He says as follows, these words are going to be important. Medina Plainus hi Chareva, there is a city that's destroyed, Vehi Shalcha, and the city is yours, Gezor Shetibani, decree that it should be rebuilt. That's what he asks. So too the Medrash continues, Kach Moshe lebikesh la'atzmei b'shvi Yisrael. Moshe was an usher, so he wasn't lacking anything, so he didn't have to ask for himself. So he asked for Yisrael. And the Rebbe asks a very, very powerful question. Amazing question. The fact in this Medrash that Moshe, the third one that comes, asks for Knesset Yisrael, so that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with his Yeshivas per se, the fact that he's rich. That has to do with the fact that he's got a good heart and cares for the well-being of someone else. And a poor person could do the same. So the Rebbe says that this isn't a complete understanding of the idea of tefillah. Now, obviously, if we understand this Medrash completely, we as usual, when we ask a question, so we're asking a question on a Medrash. So the Medrash is answering the question, but we don't understand the Medrash fully such that the answer satisfies us, because there is a problem with the answer. And the answer, the problem with the answer, and this was the last thing we saw in Shir yesterday, the problem with the answer is that according to this answer, the fact that the third person asks this of the king is not a direct result of him being an usher. He could be poor and ask the same thing. So why is it that this is called tefillah's usher? It must be that the tefillah of the usher is as powerfully connected to his reality as an usher as the tefillah la'ani, the tefillah of the poor person, is powerfully connected to his position as a poor person. Why is the poor person davening? Because he's poor. What's he davening for? Well, he's going to daven for those things that will alleviate his poverty. So the rich person must be asking for something that's shayach, that's relevant to being rich. But we don't understand that in the Maimer Chazal. Okay. There is another question that can be asked here. The Rebbe will deal with it later in the Maimer, though the full dealing with it will be, we'll talk about what the Rebbe says in the Maimer Tefillah L'Meisha 2 days later, after this Maimer. But there is another question to ask. This answer that the usher is asking the king to fix something, does this bother the usher? This thing is, this Medina is Hareva? I mean, I assume it does, right? The language we use usually in Chassidus, it's Negeya, but it affects him. It bothers him. Well, if it bothers him, then relative to that particular reality, he's not complete. Right? So why are we calling him an usher? Our understanding of usher is not lacking anything. Well, if this is something that affects the essential existence of the usher, such that he's davening for it, what's he davening about? A lacking in reality. Well, it seems to affect him. So then he's lacking. To the extent that this reality is lacking, that affects him. So then he's not an usher. Okay. We'll put that to the side. The Rebbe will talk about that later in the Maimon. The Rebbe doesn't ask that here. But it's there. Okay. And the Rebbe, interesting enough, in this Maimer, answers the question basically, but again, the full answer to the question I just asked is in the Maimer that the Rebbe said 2 days later. So we'll say what the Rebbe says over there. It's really quite astounding. Okay. So again, our question is, how do we connect the tefillah of the usher to his essential existence as an usher? The reason this is what he's asking for is because he's an usher. What? Anybody could ask for this. Okay? We can all say Tehillim that good things should happen to someone else. Doesn't mean we're not lacking in our life, but we're saying Tehillim for someone else. We do it all the time. Say Mishaberis for sick people, and we all say Amen. What does that mean? Amen. I second that idea that I also hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives that person that which they're lacking. Does that mean I'm not lacking? No. But right now I'm dealing with that person's lacking. And yet we're saying this is tefillah's usher. Okay, Rebbe will explain in quite an astounding way. And the explanation is, the explanation and then the explanation on the explanation is absolutely fundamental in what Avodas Hashem is, specifically our generation. This can be understood by virtue of understanding that which is explained in the Maimer. And when the Rebbe says the Maimer, again, he's referring back to the Rebbe Rashab's Maimer, Tefillah L'Meisha Tafresh Samech, right? Samech. What was Samech? Nun is this. So it's the 1900. Exactly. Samech is 0. Okay? So what's Moshe davening for? It says Moshe is davening for Knesset Yisrael. That's what it said, right? And the Rebbe Rashab explains, Knesset Yisrael hi bechinas malchus. Now, if the Rebbe is going to explain how this davening affects those two realities, Knesset Yisrael, which is the neshamas of the Jewish people in their source, in Atzmus, even though there's a higher source, but the neshamas of the Jewish people in their source in Atzmus, that's called Knesset Yisrael. And that's also Malchus. Now, why is Knesset, why Dafka the Lashon Knesset Yisrael? The word Knesset comes from the root kones, to gather together, the gathering together of all of the neshamas of the Jewish people in their source. Okay, so that's connect. And where is that? Malchus. Malchus of Atzilus. And Knesset Yisrael B'chlal is Malchus. Okay, so fine. What does that mean? Ubakashas Moshe of word Knesset Yisrael. The request of Moshe for the sake of Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people, Haisa was Bishvil Yisrael Kipshutam, for the Jewish people in general, simply, V'gam Bishvil Sfiris HaMalchus, also for the sake of Sfiris HaMalchus, meaning that aspect of godliness called Sfiris HaMalchus. What's Malchus? Malchus is the repository of all of the light from above. In any world, what's Malchus? Malchus is the lowest level in that world, the repository of all of the light of that world, and the expression of that light, Malchus becomes the source of the next state of reality. Right? So in you, what's Malchus? You say it every Friday night. Peh, Torah Shabbat Peh. Malchus is speech. The revelation of you outside yourself. Right? That's when you reveal yourself outside yourself by speaking. What's speech? Speech is the what happens. All of the thought that's going on in you is somehow collected in that reality and revealed in what you and I call speech. Right? Now, I don't have to reveal everything. Right? If I don't reveal it, so then it didn't come down into Malchus. Right? It's not revealed. So hopefully I don't say everything I think. Right? That's, one of the, we hope one of the differences between adults and children. Right? Okay, we have a filter. Fine, okay, but what is the revelation of what's going on inside of me? Well, okay, I do things, that's also Malchus ultimately, but the most powerful expression of who I am is what I say. Right? Well, what am I talking about? So I'm revealing to you what's going on inside of me. That's what speech is. That's why the creation of the world is called God spoke. What did he do? He took what he has and, so to speak, revealed it, so to speak, you have to keep saying so to speak in this regard, so to speak, outside of himself. That there's now, so to speak, an existence other than him. Now, there really isn't, but that's why, in essence, it's really still his thought. Right? The world is really God's thought, not God's speech, but we call it speech because we call it speech within the context of its being revealed, so to speak, outside of himself. So it seems to have some sort of independent, separate existence. And that's exactly what he wanted to create, that apparent reality, that reality of apparent separateness. And we'll see why. And what's that? Where's that? Malchus. When is it so obviously separate? When Malchus is, so to speak, broken. When Malchus is not shining the light that shines into her. What did the Medrash say? The city's destroyed. Malchus is going to be the city. Malchus is destroyed. Malchus is broken. Shviras HaKelim. Where did Shviras HaKelim happen? This is not what, this is the source of what we're talking about, but that's not where we're going. But Shviras HaKelim, where did Shviras HaKelim happen? The breaking of the vessels. The source of that experience that we have of separateness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where did that all happen?
Before creation.
Okay, say that's true, but there's a lot of places before creation. Malchus. V'yamach v'yimlech v'yames. He was king and he died. He was king and he died. He was king and he died in Bereshit. Like the kings of Asa. Right? Klipa. Where's Klipa come from, so to speak? The existence of evil down here. Broken vessels. Right? If a vessel is not whole, so then what does it reveal? Simply itself. Right? But just a quick example so that we understand this, because it's not what we're talking about in our mimer, but it came up quickly. The letters on the page that you're looking at, each letter is a kli to reveal light. What's the light? The idea on the page. How is that intellectual light revealed to you? By the proper ordering of those kalim, of those oisias, of those letters on the page. If they're ordered properly, then they do not reveal themselves, they reveal an idea. So if I were to ask you what's on this page, and you told me 12 mems, 13 lameds, 6 samachs, so then we understand that you're a lunatic. Right? You're off your wall. What is on this page? An idea. There's an idea on this page. What's the means of revealing that idea to me? The oisias on this page that are ordered in such a way, they're not in a state of chaos, tohu, which is the world of Shviras HaKelim. They're in a state of tikkun, of fixedness. And what do they reveal? Or, light, an idea. There's an idea on this page. There's quite a few ideas on this page. Quite amazing ideas on this page. And what's the vehicle for revealing them? These little letters that are all put together in the right order. Those are the kalim that reveal the light. They really are. That's what they are. A simple shot in it. It's not hard to understand. Okay. What if I were to take this, it's harder for me to do because I'm looking at a book, but you were to take your piece of paper with the scissors, cut along each line, and then cut in between each letter and make a pile. Would there still be kalim there? Yeah, they're there. Okay, but they're broken. Oh, so therefore, what don't they reveal anymore?
The idea.
The idea. What do they reveal? Their own existence. If you pick one up, he'll say, I'm a resh. Pick another one up, I'm an aleph. Now, really, we're looking at our page. I'm a nun. I'm a kuf. I'm a vav. I'm a daled. I'm a taf. It's all about me. No. You're supposed to be the word nekudas, which is the first word in a line in a mimer revealing certain aspects of godly reality. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm revealing myself. That's a broken vessel. Where does that happen? In Malchus. So when Malchus is chareva, broken, that means Malchus is not revealing Elokus. It's not doing what it's ultimately meant to do. Why do these letters exist? These letters exist to reveal or light. What's that light? Well, that's intellectual light, right? I mean, that's what letters do. They reveal ideas. Okay, now you and I can call that idea light. So what's on this page? An idea, right? That's what's on this page. And these ACs are revealing the idea, as long as they're in a state of tikkun. As long as they're in a state of fixedness, they reveal the idea. If I were to jumble the letters, change the letter, cut the letter, I could even cut the letters themselves, right? Then it's really a broken vessel. So then the aleph doesn't even say it's an aleph. I'll pick up a little piece of the aleph, he'll say, I'm a yud. You're a liar. You're not a yud. You're the bottom leg of an aleph. You're pushing a liar. Oh. Say Lamazah. Alma the Shikra. The world that doesn't reveal what's really going on. Right? Doesn't reveal what it really is. Oh, so that's that experience that you and I have, and we call it yeshus, right? That sense of separateness. That comes. Tzimtzum alone is not enough to bring about that state of reality. Right? Usually when we talk about the creation of the world, we talk about tzimtzum, the diminishing of life. But tzimtzum alone is not enough to create that state of reality. We also need shviras, meaning in the way the Eibush created the world is also through this process called shviras hakelim. Shviras hakelim is on a certain level the more powerful, direct source of what you and I experience as yeshus, separateness, independence, our own existence. Because, just one of the mashalim that I've heard that is interesting regarding Tzimtzum, the light of stars is exceedingly mitzumtzam, right? It's to such an extent that, if you've ever been in the desert far from the city on a clear winter night when there's no dust in the air and you look up, that you can't see your own nose, but there's a blanket of stars. It's breathtaking. You see the Milky Way. You just have to be far away from light, be far away from the city. Okay, it's breathtaking. You can't see your own nose. Right? That light it's not reaching me. Well, obviously it is reaching me to the extent that I'm aware of the existence of the light, because that light is coming from there and it is hitting my eye, but it's hitting my eye in such a faint way that it's not helping me read a book. Right? Okay. Well, interesting enough, with that incredible tzimtzum, at that moment, what am I aware? What's the only thing I'm aware of? The star. I'm not aware of its light. Its light is so mitzumtzum that I'm not aware of its light, but I still am aware of the star. So tzimtzum alone will not necessarily produce a reality where I'm not aware of the source of something. The source will just be diminished. And I might not see the expression of the source down here, but I'll be aware of the source. I'm aware of the stars. I see the stars. Now, what I'm seeing is starlight. Okay, Beseder, but in what we're experiencing when we see starlight, when we see sunlight, we're not experiencing the sun, we're experiencing sunlight. As a matter of fact, we don't look at the sun, we're looking away from the sun. And I can see sunlight out there very clearly, and I can see sunlight in the ear very, very clearly. Starlight doesn't work that way. Right? Starlight, the only thing you see is the star, really. You see this little twinkle up there. Of course, you're seeing light, but it just appears as the source, not the light itself. So that's just because it's so mitzum that it's not really shining down here in any serious way. But I'm not lacking in awareness of its source, which is interesting. Still know there's stars. You see them? So Shvius Kelim helps. And where did that happen? In Malchus. Veloche. Third line on the second paragraph. Veloche. Eimer b'medrash. Shebakashus Mesha v'ur Knesset Yisrael. That Mesha's request for Knesset Yisrael, he, al derech, or al davar, habakasha, medina plenis v'chule. That's what he says in the Medrash. We're saying pshat in the Medrash. What's Medina? The Medina, he Malchus. Two levels Medina is Malchus. Simple pshat. What's Medina? It's a city. It exists in space. The source of space and time is Malchus. Malchus is the source of the differentiation of space and time. Not space from time, the differentiation in space, the differentiation in time. That the source of that is Malchus. Malchus of Atzilus is the source of creation. Malchus of Atzilus gives birth to Eilam HaBriya, and that's called Briya, the creation of Yesh, something that exists, Mi'ayin, from something that doesn't exist, meaning something that's godly and not created. Something created from something that's not created. Eilam HaTzilus isn't created reality, it's creator reality. It's God. It's just God expressing himself in 10 different levels, called it spheres, revealing those aspects of himself. So Medina is Malchus, because Medina is a place in space, and the source of space is Malchus. Also, Medina is Milashon Din, concealment, space, time, conceals the godliness that is the true source of it all, hides the notion of Hashem Echad. We experience space as differentiation in space, differentiation in time. That's what Malchus is the source of. What does the pasuk say? And Chassidus talks about it a lot. By Malchus, Ragleha yordos mafis. Her legs descend into death. Malchus. Right? Wow. Meaning that's the level of godliness, that's the source for the balagan down here. This crazy reality down here, which seems to be topsy-turvy. Seems to be, I mean, like, it is topsy-turvy. So there's a Medina, which is Malchus, Vehi Chareva, and she's broken, she's destroyed. What's that? Hu achisaron shenase b'Malchus. This is the lacking that was brought about in Malchus. And what's that? Inyan miut hayareach. The diminishing of the moon. In the story of Bereshis, how do we learn about the diminishing of Malchus? Malchus, we said, is the repository of the light, the receptacle. Malchus is femininity, the receptacle, the makabel, right? The sun shines off the moon. Okay, so the moon is the makabel. The sun is the mashpia, the one who's giving the light. The moon experienced a miut, a diminishing in Ma'aser Bereshis. What's that expressive of in real terms? Malchus is shattered, which means in the realm of Malchus, godliness is not revealed. I.e., Malchus, this is just the equation. We don't always have to understand all of the deep understanding of the equation to understand the equation. The equation is Malchus is the source of created reality. That created reality does not reveal Elokus. As a matter of fact, to a certain degree, it hides Elokus. To a certain degree, to a great degree. I mean, hopefully it's not hiding Elokus to the people sitting around this table. The reason you're sitting around this table is because Malchus doesn't hide Elokus to you. You realize it's all Elokus, and you want to become more sensitive to that, so you get up in the morning and learn Chassidus. That's why we do it, to become people more sensitive to Elokus. So Elokus becomes something that resonates in our intellect, just like hamburgers, or burgers. I'll take out the hamburgers. Okay. Hot dogs, okay. The Mets. On a roll, Doc. Right?
Okay. 104 games against the Yankees.
So excited. I just wanted you to express that, Doc. I wanted you to say that. Okay. So there's this whole reality of concealment. Where's that come from? What's the source of that? Malchus isn't revealing her true nature, because what is Malchus truly? Elokus. It's all Elokus. Einot Milvadei. Everything's the Eibishter. But Malchus is that realm of reality where godliness is concealed and there's the apparent existence of something else. It's not an illusion that something else. It's there. It just posits itself as having existence that is absolute, and it doesn't. It only has relative existence. And its existence is the expression of some other higher existence, but it hides that. It's not interested in revealing that. It's interested in revealing its own existence as self-sustaining and independent. Physical reality. The table's not saying God created me. The table's saying bump into me and I'm going to give you a bruise the likes of which you never had before. Because I'm here and you can't be. Get out of my space. It's called Yeshus. Right? On some metaphysical reality, we could imagine our hand passing through the table somehow, right? It wouldn't bother us. Somehow we can imagine such a thing. In Gashmias, no matter how hard I hit it, it won't let me in. I'm here. That's broken Malchus. So the Medina is Chareva. And what's the symbol of that in Maisa Bereshis? Miuta Lavana. The Lavana, Malchus, is diminished. It's the whole story of creation. And what's going to happen when Mashiach comes and godliness is revealed in this world properly? Relative to the Lavana? What? She's going to be back to what she was at the beginning of the whole story. It says there were Shnei murders, right? There were two sources of light. And one of them was diminished. The Levana was diminished. And she'll return back to that state of glory. Yemez Mashiach. Oh. Right, so he's asking for this third fellow. He's not asking for himself. He's asking that Malchus should revert back to its source in Elokus. And we'll see that the Rebbe is going to explain to us as we see this more deeply, that that's the meaning of the words he adds that seems somewhat superfluous. V'hi shalcha, it's yours. There's this country, and there's this city, and it's destroyed. Why doesn't he just say, decree to fix it? He adds, she's yours. Which is going to be, the Rebbe is going to explain in a footnote that that's going to mean Malchus, the realm of created reality, it's all just you. But that's hidden, God. But it's hidden. So what's Moshe asking for? Let's see. 5th line. V'bakasha, and the request, Gezor shetibane, decree that it should be rebuilt. He Sheyumshach gilui atzmas or ein sof b'malchus, that this highest level of godly reality, godly light, should be drawn down into Malchus. Rebbe's going to explain why after that. Shall yedei zeh, by virtue of this, if that level of godly reality were to be revealed, and we'll just say simply, below, down here in this world, shall yedei zeh, it will be built in a way of an everlasting edifice, I think is how it's usually translated. It'll be built eternally. Oh, in other words, it'll be the ultimate fixing, so to speak, of Malchus. Okay, now just think, the Yeshiva created the world in such a way that we can understand these things. Right? Okay, so what did he create? He created a moon. So you and I would understand the whole idea of spheres, kalim, etc. It just said, Miyuta Yereah. What does the moon do every month? It waxes and wanes. Oh, so there are times when the moon is full. When Malchus is shining. But if Malchus is shining from a level of light that's within the context of the natural state of Malchus, so naturally, what can Malchus also do? What can happen to Malchus, evidently, naturally? can stop shining. The moon. The fact that the moon is full, so if I don't understand anything and I've never been here, so I go, wow, look at that thing. That thing's beautiful. Shoot. Look how big it is. That's amazing. You know, when I came down here a week ago, it was broken, but now I see it's fixed. Right? So what might I think? Well, if you fix something, what do you hope?
It'll stay fixed.
Stay fixed. Right? But the fixing of the moon that happens every month is not a complete fixing. And the most complete expression of that doesn't last. It starts, as soon as it's full, it starts shrinking again. Right? Okay. So when Moshe asks the Melech to fix the Medina, in the Mashal, when this third person comes to the king and asks the king to fix the Medina, so he asks him to fix the Medina in a way that the Medina will be fixed forever, not a temporary fixing, because that's not fixed. Right? I can quit smoking. I've done it 5 times. It's easy. Right? Well, that's not called quitting, right? That's not fixed. Fixed is the idea of smoking a cigarette is impossible. That's really fixed. Oh. What level of godly light could bring about that transformation in Malchus such that Malchus would not only be temporarily a place of revelation, but eternally a place of revelation? Or Atzmos or Ein Sof, that level of godliness, that third level of godliness that we talked about in the previous chapter, right? That level of godliness that's shaykh to whom? Who's living on that level? Moshe. Oh. I mean, the Rebbe's going to say it in a line, but he just answered the question. Who's the only one who can ask for a complete fixing of Malchus? Moshe. Because Moshe can draw down into Malchus the level of Atzmos or Ein Sof, which is a level of godly light. What did we say about that light? That lacking isn't relevant to that level of light, so that if it were revealed, the whole notion of lacking would cease to exist. You and I call that Mashiach. That's what Mashiach is. Just different than Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni. Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni were times of tremendous godly revelation in Olam Hazeh. But was it a complete fixing of the world? Why not?
They broke it.
It ended. Broke. Okay, so then 70 years later we built Bayis Sheni, which had some advantages and some disadvantages over Bayis Rishon. Right? Gadol B'Minyan, it was a bigger building, it lasted longer, right? How long did the first Beis HaMikdash last?
400 years? 69.
No, 369 is Shiloh. So you're mixing up two, but you're 410 years. How long did the second Beis HaMikdash last? 420 years. What's the mashal for that? Do we remember that? I don't want to feel badly involving myself in picking up space on the board, whatever. But, okay, we know this is Rabbi Kaplan. The oil that we were told to bring was Kasis Lama'or. Kasis is 420 and 410. That's how long, 830 years, that's how long there was a menorah in the Beis HaMikdash that we brought crushed oil to light the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash. Right, that was, right, V'bata Tetzav B'nei Yisrael. Right, and what should they bring to you? Shemen Zayazach, Kasis Lama'or, crushed as a source of light. And that word crushed is the remez to the two Bate Mikdashes. 420, 410, the second one was 420. So there was advantages in the second one, but there were also disadvantages. No, Gilui Shechina. Kodesh HaKadoshim was empty. There was nothing in Kodesh HaKadoshim. It was an empty room. Right? But obviously, still a room of unbelievably powerful godliness, because for 50 years running, the Kohen Gadol went in there on Yom Kippur and died. Had to be pulled out. Right? They would tie a rope around his leg, knowing that he wasn't going to make it. Okay. So still a place of tremendous revelation, but that also ended. The third Beis HaMikdash, what do we know about it? Binyan Adayad. Where do you think the words Binyan Adayad come from? Yes, they come from wishing a young couple a binyan adayad, okay, but really they come from the fact that the Beis HaMikdash, the third Beis HaMikdash, is a binyan adayad. Right? What does the Rebbe always ask for when the Rebbe talks about geula? Geula mitis v'shlema. True and complete redemption. Not a redemption that will last for 250 years and be nice and then disappear. No. Another phrase the Rebbe uses constantly. Geula she'ein acharei golus. A geula that there is not after it golus. That's Mashiach. That's what this fellow is asking the Melech. That's what Moshe is asking the Melech. And who's the only one who can ask it? Moshe. Why? Because Moshe is the one that can draw down this level of elokus. Or Ein Sof, Shelifnei Tzimtzum, Atzmas Or Ein Sof, the essence of Or Ein Sof, this unbelievably powerful light that's beyond any notion of tzimtzum, any notion of constriction or limitation. So that if that's revealed, Malchus is fixed, but fixed. Not a Band-Aid. Fixed. And it fixed in such a way that the notion of brokenness no longer exists. He's the only one who can ask for that. That's why it's Tfilas Usher. Wow. It's just unbelievable.
Is he the only one that can ask for it because he's the only one that knows exactly what he's asking for, so like his own experience?
He's the only one who can touch that. He's the only one who can touch the place that can draw down the light that can bring about that fixing. What did we just learn about Moshe on the previous page? We said Moshe is relevant to that third level. He's the usher. And what does that usher mean? That he's relative to not only the level of Or Mamale, the godly light that powers the world, not only the level of Or Sever, the infinite godly light that is the true source of the world, but he's relative, he's shaykh to and connected to a level of light that is beyond the world in all ways and forms, and therefore the whole notion of restriction and constriction and tzimtzum and brokenness does not relate to that level at all. That reality does not exist there. Oh, that's Moshe. So who can tap that light to be drawn down into this world and fix this world permanently? Moshe. Only Moshe. That's why Tfilas Usher. It's not that he knows about it, because you and I also know about it. Now, but he is that. Moshe lives there. That's why this is the tefillah of the usher. Only the usher can connect to that level of godliness and draw it down into this world. Now, there's going to be a big question on all of this, of course, because the mimer is only halfway through. As a matter of fact, to a certain degree, the mimer starts after this. I keep saying that. Well, they're right. I mean, it's just one of those mimarim. That you wonder how anybody understood anything before this mimer happened. So what is this? Let's read it again. The Medina, fourth line. The Medina hi Malchus. The Charev, it's broken. What's that? Hu achisaron shenasa b'Malchus. The lacking that's brought about in Malchus, what does that mean? That the realm of Malchus doesn't reveal what it truly is, which is Elokus. Right? Doesn't reveal godliness. What is Malchus really? Elokus is the Eibishter. It's all the Eibishter. Ain't nothing about it. There's nothing about him. But I don't experience that down here. I experience myself, I experience other stuff. Right? That famous story, which we've talked about many, many times. It's such an amazing, I heard it from Rav Fitchi Eifen in Farbrengen once. Talking about a chassid of the Alter Rebbe who was in learning Chassidus with the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe was explaining the Indian of Eineid Milvadai. There's nothing other than him. Came out of the shir just completely and totally in another realm of existence, contemplating deeply the notion of Ein Eid Milvadai. It's all just Elokus. There's nothing else. Everything is Elokus. He was contemplating this deeply. And he wasn't watching where he was going. So he ended up smacking his head on a low-lying branch. Boom! Feet went out from under him, landed on the ground. Whoa! Comes to himself. He's got a scratch, and a bark does scratches you. He's got a scratch on his forehead. His head is killing him. sitting on the ground. Ah, my head hurts. My head hurts because I hit that tree. But wait a minute, ain't it melukat? There's no tree. There's no head. It's all gone. But man, my head hurts. And it's because of that tree. He sits there for half an hour, contemplating what happened to him. And he comes to the following conclusion. Ain't it melukat? There's nothing other than the Eibishter, except that tree in my head. That's where we're all living. Right? So all the Eibishter. What's for breakfast? I'm hungry. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't eat breakfast. But it's just me and the Eibishter. Right? Those people are into everything being an illusion. Right? Very dangerous understanding of reality. And it's all a function of my conscious awareness of its existence. Oh, so therefore what? What's the only thing that really exists? Me. You don't. You're just an expression of my conscious understanding of something outside of me. But you don't really exist. I do. Ooh, This is all in the name of God and holiness.
Rabbi.
Okay.
Moshe's in that level of Atzilus, and
Not at Atzilus. At Atzilus, you're talking Orma Male. You're not. We've gone beyond Atzilus. Atzilus is the highest level in Orma Male. That's not Usher. Actually, that was the corollary of Pur. That's where Malchus is broken, so to speak. Really, what happened? Malchus of Atzilus is also broken, so to speak. But when we talk about Malchus being, Atzilus being a world of Tikkun, so to speak, the Eibishter fixed Atzilus. Atzilus is a place where all of godly reality is revealed in a proper way. But what comes out of that is all now worlds that require fixing. I was going to talk about what that fixing is. Okay, yeah. So Moshe is not Atzilus. Atzmus Ein Sof, a level of godly light so far beyond anything we can imagine. We can only talk about it in terms of the fact that there is such a level. What it is, I haven't got a clue. But it's up there. Way up there. A level that is not relevant to the notion of tzimtzum. The Rebbe is going to talk about that. Even Or Sevev, infinite light. Tzimtzum affects infinite light. The fact that the Eibishter created a finite reality through this process called tzimtzum, so that affects infinite reality. How? Well, so to speak, there's a no entry sign to infinite reality. It comes to infinite reality comes to, we're looking at this in physical terms, that's the only thing we can do it. Infinite reality, so to speak, comes to a machsom, to a roadblock. And what does it say here? No entry. It's finite after here. You stay where you are. You're not allowed past here. Okay, well, why? Because infinite and finite, never the twain shall meet. Those are two completely different states of reality. If I'm experiencing infinite reality, by definition, I'm not experiencing finite. And if I'm experiencing finite, by definition, I'm not experiencing infinite. A finite number is not an infinite number, and an infinite number is not a finite number. I don't know what that means, but I know there's such concepts. Such a thing called an infinite number. Okay. I don't think it's just, 3.3 repeater, is it? That's something deeper than that. I don't know. Whatever it is. Don't explain it to me as well, I won't understand it anymore. Okay. But what is an infinite number? It's an infinite number. What isn't it? It's not a finite number. It's either this or that. There's a level beyond both. It's not infinite, it's not finite. And that's Atzmusa, or the essence of the light, where the whole notion of tzimtzum doesn't affect it in any way, shape, or form. So that means that, what does that mean about that level of light? And this is really an amazing idea, and very, very important idea. That's a level of light that can be revealed here as easily, so to speak, as anywhere else. Why? It's not limited by finite reality. Finite reality doesn't have a do not enter sign to this level of godly light because it's completely unlimited. So it's a level of God that can be anywhere and is everywhere. Do we see him here? No, we don't see that level of reality. Is it here? It's here. Is Sevev here? Well, what's here? But when we talk about Sevev, what do we talk about? All-encompassing light. So to speak, it surrounds the thing. In terms of the marshal for that is Ratzon, will. Okay. I have a will. Fine. What do I want? I want a drink of water. Fine. So what am I going to do? I'm going to move my chair. Why do I move my chair?
Because you want water.
Well, no. I move my chair because I want to move my chair. Why do I want to move my chair?
You can get out.
Oh, I can get up. Right? That's why I want to move my chair, right? I want to move my chair because I get up. Now, I'm not thinking about all these things. It's just happening. Okay. So there's all these mini rutzons. I walk out of the room. Why? Well, I want to walk out of the room. I go down the stairs, not the elevator, down the stairs. Right? Even though I've been taking the elevator every day just because it's such a chiddush that we have an elevator. And at some point I'm going to stop taking the elevator. But a friend of mine used to say that if you walk up and down stairs every day for 120 years, you live a long time. So it's a good idea.
Turns out that he's taking an elevator for 120 years as well. You also
Yeah, but he didn't say that. So I walk downstairs, go into the dining room, pick up a cup, actually pick up 8 cups, and then try to get 1 out of the 8, and that takes me as long as it took me to get out of the room down to there, right? So I take 1 cup and I put it next to the water machine, and I pick which one I want, and it's a really difficult decision. Which should I do? The right side, the left side? I don't know which one. So I fill up my cup with water, and I make a shahakol, and I drink. Oh. Now, everything I did was encompassed in the general rutzon of I want to drink of water. That was the all-encompassing light that every specific action was contained within. But interesting enough, within that general rutzon were specific rutzonot. The rutzon to move the chair, the rutzon to walk out of to stand up, the rutzon to walk out of the room, the rutzon to go down the stairs, the rutzon to take the cup, the rutzon to fill up the cup, and the rutzon to make a bracha, and the rutzon to drink the water. Right? So there were these mini rutzonot within the all-encompassing rutzon. That's how. But every rutzon, even the mini rutzon, every one of them was encompassing a specific action. It wasn't the action itself. It's, so to speak, the light encompassing it, causing it to be. But it's not revealed in the action itself. I mean, I know that's why I did it. But the action is an action of moving the chair, not an action of willing. Okay. And that's why Rutzon is a makif. Right? Okay. Now, and we can just go a step further. Why did I want the drink of water? I was thirsty. So what? So you're thirsty. I don't care. What's that got to do with anything? Oh, well, when you're thirsty and you drink water, that gives you a certain pleasure. Because being thirsty is not pleasant, and drinking the water is pleasant. Why? I don't know, but that's the way it is. And so I went to get the water, because I was looking for the pleasure that the water was going to give me, because I wasn't enjoying that lack of pleasure that thirst was causing. So I had a rutzon for water. Generally, rutzon obviously comes from pleasure, right? Generally. The whole beginning of Samach Vav, the Rebbe Shab, is dealing with the interplay of those two levels of godly reality, pleasure and rutzon, of reality in general, also in us. There are sometimes a rutzon can produce a pleasure, right? Acquired tastes is what you and I call it, right? Everybody likes scotch. I guess I should try to like scotch. I want to be cool or accepted or whatever thing is happening around the scotch. And so I've come to the conclusion that I should probably develop a taste for single malt. Anybody who still drinks Johnny Walker, so just, fine, no problem. Refuah Shlema, go drink it. But, if you're drinking single malt, so then you're already a somewhat realized human being. 8-year-olds do not like the stuff.
Vice is a higher grade.
What?
Vice is a higher grade.
Absolutely, I agree, 100%. 100%. We quoted Mendel at the Farbrengen. Mendel used to say, why do Hasidim drink white and not yellow? Hasidim have to do something important in life. If you take yellow, you put it in yellow, it comes out yellow. He didn't do anything. He said, if you drink Weiss, gate in Weiss and gate ice, Geller. So you did something. Only Rav Mendel could say things like that, and it wasn't grub. It was just Russian. It's just Russian. Okay. So Moshe is that level of atzmus or, not atzilus, not serving, atzmus or, and that's the level of or that can bring about a binyan adayat. Let's keep going. The kishanis malach, he's sudden to malchus. Now the Rebbe is going to explain that when it's filled, the lacking in malchus al yedei, by virtue shanim shachba, that it's drawn down to it hagilui sheshayich lamalchus, the revelation that's naturally supposed to be revealed in malchus, and we'll call that a level of, what level of light is revealed in malchus? We talked about 3 different levels. Which level? By definition, it's called mamale, malchus, or mamale is revealed in malchus. That's the level of light that malchus should naturally reveal. And were we to be privy to that revelation, we'd fall down. We couldn't stand up in the face of such unbelievably powerful godliness. Okay, but that's the level that's naturally part of malchus, so to speak, naturally to be revealed by malchus. But what do we know about that level? Well, that level can also disappear. Because it did. And then it might have come back. What's Gilui Shechina in the base of Mikdash? Malchus. Gilui Malchus. The sovereignty of HaKadosh Baruch is revealed in Elamazir. Fine. But could that disappear? Yeah. Okay. A human body. It's healthy. Healthy human body. What's theoretically possible?
Yes, sir.
Get unhealthy. Could it get healthy again?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Is there a difference between the body getting healthy again and the Eibishter creating a whole new state where sickness doesn't exist?
Yes.
That's a pretty serious difference, right? Okay, so if Malchus simply becomes to a state of health, mitzad Malchus' natural reality, so that's good. But what can happen? It could revert back to the state that is also part of the theoretical natural reality of Malchus, that that it doesn't necessarily always reveal Elokus the way it's supposed to. Well, that's the way the Eibishter created reality. That's what physical reality is. Okay. So could physical reality, could the world be a place of incredibly powerful revelation of Elokus? Yeah, Bayis Rishon. 100%. Matan Torah. Matan Torah, the revelation of godliness in Matan Torah was so powerful that we were blown back. The Jewish people were 3 million people. We took up, evidently, from the front of the line to the back of the line was 12 kilometers. 3 million people, a lot of people, right? It's going to take a lot of space. Right? Evidently, after the first dibur, we were blown back 12 kilometers. So the people who were standing in the front were now standing where the people in the back were. Unbelievable revelation. Permanent? No. The Ramban explains something very, very amazing, that what's the whole notion of building the Mishkan? The whole notion of building the Mishkan is to bring about a mini Matan Torah in a permanent sense. All right? To maintain that state of where? Kodesh HaKadoshim. Okay. And anybody went into Kodesh HaKadoshim, if you weren't who you're supposed to be, so that's the end of you.
But aside from the fact of its permanence, isn't the quality of the revelation going to be different? Because fundamentally, like in Matan Torah, like you experienced Hashem, like not in His oneness, you still experienced His Gevur or His light, and it fundamentally didn't transform the world or all the Jews. Whereas in the Shia, the light is going to be such that it transforms. There's something else besides.
That's exactly what the Rebbe is saying. Well, it's not that something else as opposed to the permanence. What causes the permanence? The nature of the light. Those two go hand in hand. Right? That's what the Rebbe is saying. That's exactly what the Rebbe is saying. If the light revealed in Malchus is that level of godly light that naturally is supposed to be revealed through Malchus, so that's wonderful, that's incredible, that's amazing, and you and I would just be in a state of unbelievable spiritual pleasure if that were to happen. But that isn't necessarily eternal, because we know that that state can also end. If there's a revelation of a whole new state of godly reality where the notion of lacking no longer exists, so then it's eternal. Who can tap into that level of godly reality? Moshe. That's why Tefillah Moshe is that. And only Moshe can daven that. So now we understand why Moshe's Tefillah is specifically relevant to the fact that he is an usher. Now there's still a problem, which the Rebbe is going to deal with in the next ice. We'll finish this quickly, but the Rebbe is going to deal with the next ice, where we're going. There's no Shir Sunday because the guys are away for Shabbos, and so Sunday they're on a teal, so Monday morning will be the next year. The Rebbe is going to ask, well, wait a minute, this is all from above below, which is Torah, which is Moshe. Why is it called Tefillah, which is from below above? That's the next step of understanding. But first we're understanding that Moshe brings down this level of unbelievable godly light. Okay, the next step is to understand why it's called Tefillah Moshe, not Torah's Moshe. Because Torah comes from above below. Tefillah comes from below above. This seems to be coming from above below. Rebbe's not leaving a stone unturned. All right, he's going to explain it all. All right, okay, but let's finish up this part of it. When that level that's relevant to Malchus, or Mamala is revealed, then she's elevated Ledarga to the level the level that exists before the light left, so to speak, v'nechsar mimena or, and she was lacking the or. Then what's possible? Azai, then, Efshar, it's possible. Shor shenimshach ba, that the light that's drawn down, yistala godpam, it can disappear a second time. It left once, it can leave another time. Ubechdei shabinyan shala, in order that her binyan yiyeh will be bebechinas in the quality binyan adeyad, eternal, she'ein shayach, that it's not relevant, she'techarev, that she should be destroyed, chas v'sholem. This is what the Rebbe is just saying inside, what we said outside. That's why we can read through it quickly. Who is al yadei shenim shachbad's drawn down into her gilui atzmus ein soif, this level of light shelamayla mi'or hashayach la'elamus, that's completely transcendent of the level of light that's relevant to the worlds. That's called Malchus. Completely transcendent level. The ba'or zeh. Ein shaykh tzimtzum v'silach. The whole notion of constriction doesn't affect this light. As we said, tzimtzum affects Or Mamale. That's what Or Mamale is all about. Right? Light that's been diminished such that it can express itself in a kli. Physical light. Physical light has to be of an intensity that is fit to the vessel that is experiencing the revelation of that light. So if there's not enough light, you and I don't see anything, right? We try, we have these things called pupils, and they open up very wide to let in more light. Then all of a sudden we walk into the bathroom and turn on the light, first thing in the morning. What's the first thing that happens? Simsum mamish. That's what happens. We're mitzamsem the light so that we can see differentiated reality. Because when we turn on the light, we can't see anything. All we see is the light. We don't see any differentiated reality. It's just all light. It hurts. But we don't want to see. We don't want the light to make reality disappear. We want the light to reveal reality. So the light has to be mitzumtsam, so that my eyes can use that light to see the toothbrush. Hopefully mine. If you're married, it's not as serious, but certainly in the dorm, it's very serious. Okay. Fine, so I take my toothbrush. My toothpaste doesn't matter. You shouldn't steal the other person's toothpaste, but he doesn't care if you stuck your toothbrush. He does care if you took your toothbrush and went like that. Okay. So that's how light works. So in terms of creating existence, in order to create this fascinating experience of differentiated reality, what did God have to do? He had to take infinite light where differentiation doesn't exist and channel that light and process that light, so to speak, until it's a light that can give birth to differentiated reality. And that's called Tzimtzum. That's Rav Mamala. Rav Mamala is all about Tzimtzum. Okay. So you see differentiated reality. Because when the light's too bright, you stop seeing differentiated reality. And that's exactly the same in physical light. That's why physical light works that way, so you and I will understand how godly light works. If we turn on the light and there's too much light, take a spotlight, those spotlights that they used to have when I grew up, they used to, for some strange reason, car dealers always used to have these spotlights that they would shine into. What did I do with car dealers? I don't know. But the spotlights, they used to shine into the air. And you'd see these spotlights moving back and forth in the air at night, in the summer. In the winter, where I lived, there were clouds, you couldn't see anything. Okay, fine. 2 seasons, July and winter. Okay, so take that spotlight, shine it into someone's face, and tell them to read. No way. It really blows him away. Right, okay. Take a flashlight and lead. Oh, that I can do. But even a flashlight, you're flashing in his eyes, he can't see. Too much light, there's no differentiated reality. God did that way in physicality, so you and I should just understand how it works in metaphysicality, right? I mean, is there such a word, metaphysicality? Metaphysical reality. Okay. The Ba'or Zeh ain't shaykh tzimtzum v'silik. V'zeu shetfilas meisha. Now, just read the last 4 lines quickly, and we'll let you set you free. V'zeu shetfilas meisha nikus tfilas osher. And that's why tfilas meisha dafka is called tfilas osher. The Peiris tfilas osher. What does it mean tfilas osher? He had tfilas shaloi hu mipnei shu osher. Who's privy to this level of godliness? Meisha. Therefore, Meisha is the only one who can daven this davening. Meisha is the only one who can draw down this level of godliness. Again, we're going to ask, what do you mean? Tefillah is not about drawing down. Tefillah is about elevating up. Okay, we'll get there. That which Meisha daven, that there should be drawn down into Malchus, into the realm of this world, which might seem broken. A level of godly light that will fix it and fix it permanently. A revelation of Atzma Sorein Seif Shayadei Zed Dafka, that by virtue of this specifically, Tibane, it will be built by Bechinas Binyan Adayad in a way that will be permanent. Who mipnei shi haya osher? That's because he was an osher. And what did we say yesterday, 2 days ago? Bechinas Das Elyon. He's Das Elyon. Shemakabel Miatik. That he draws he's privy to the revelation of Atik. And what's that? Atzma Sorein Seif. Shalamayla Megeder Elam, which is completely and totally transcendent the worlds, and therefore the whole notion of Tzimtzum isn't even shaykh to it. That's why Moshe is the one who has to do all this. Okay, so what's this? I mean, this gives you a very clear understanding as to why when the Rebbe talks about Geula, he talks about Geula Amitis Vashlema, Geula Sheina Recha Golus. That's what we want. We're not interested in some sort of temporary state of, let's have, 50 years of peace and quiet. That'd be very nice, 50 years of peace and quiet, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to bring about the permanent revelation of Elokus in Olam Hazeh. And what's that? The revelation of this level of Atzma Sorein Seif Shelifnei Tzimtzum, that's before the whole Tzimtzum, etc., etc. Okay. Now, the next step, and that's going to be a huge, something, it's not so much a Chiddush of the Rebbe, but it's something that is so emphasized in the Rebbe's Torah and not as much in the generations before. But the Rebbe's going to answer the question, why is this tefillah? This is all about drawing down a level of godly light from above below. That's Torah. Torah is godliness coming down. Tefillah is you and I down here trying to elevate up. This should be Torah's mission. Why is it tefillah mission? Oh, that's the next thing that I was going to explain. Okay. Have an amazing Shabbos, and we'll see you Monday morning.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Now, you really do have to do a review on this to remember what we learned and get it straight, and then if you don't understand something, you can ask, and we can, go over it again.